So what will be the element of a particular row or corresponds to a particular bus, that will be dependent on the connectivity of that bus with the others, right? 1 minute. Then here say for any bus, there will be one y11 because there cannot be an isolated bus. That bus must be connected with with at least one bus, another bus. Otherwise, this bus will be isolated. There will be no connectivity of it with the power system. So one line, at least one line should be there. So if the bus exists, then there should be one y11. Okay, but whether this y12, one n or yin, say related to bus I, in between that there is a bus I, right? So whether these elements will be existing or not, that will be depend on. So this is bus 1, this is bus I, this is bus J, right? Then this bus 1 and bus I is not bus 1 and bus I are connected. This is bus I, right? But bus 1 and bus J are not connected. Then obviously for yin there will be an element, but if there be there will be one element corresponds to y1j also, but in between 1 and j there is no connectivity. If there is no connectivity, that means impedance is infinite, that means admittance is 0. Then corresponds to that element will be 0. So these off diagonal elements will be will have either some value or 0. The value it will be 0 when this particular bus is not connected to the another bus. Say if this yn2 will be 0 when n is not connected with 2. Understood my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So in that way, actually in power system, all the buses are not interconnected. Some of them are interconnected to increase the reliability, but all of them are not. So obviously, if we write total matrix set for 100 buses, then you can say that 50 buses are interconnected. So say one bus may be connected to 50 buses of 50 other buses, not the remaining 49. So that means that 49 elements corresponds to that bus will be 0. So there will be a huge number of zeros in Y bus element. And we can directly say which element will be 0, because if there is no connectivity, that will be 0. But that thing is not so easy for the Z bus, because we can relate this relationship, we can write in reverse also, V equal to some Z into I, but we do not do that one. Because in that case, that Z bus matrix will be a full matrix, there will be no 0 element. But Y bus matrix will be 0, will be a matrix if consisting of a number of zeros, and which two elements will be 0, that we can identify very easily. It depends on connectivity. There is no scope to there is no scope to discuss the Z bus right now. But when you do it in your other classes, higher classes, then you will see it is always a full matrix. There is no 0. So that is one advantage to use Y bus. If it is 0, then calculation is easier. For the 0 elements, there will be no calculation. Similarly, say in a row, if there are a number of zeros, you cannot store that zeros also. Say in a 100 by 100 matrix, say if this matrix is 100 by 100, then obviously this will be the total number of elements of this matrix. Say I have told that say maximum connectivity is 50. Then one bus is connected to 50 number of buses. Then number of off diagonals, that means y12, yij, that will be 50, and there will be one diagonal. So maximum elements per row will be 51 only. So we have no need to, so from there you can calculate what will be the possible size. So it will be far less than this 100 by 100. So we can store only the non-zero element and leave the 0 element. We shall not do calculation for the 0 elements. So in that way, we can reduce the computer storage, as well as we can calculate Y bus very easily, because Y bus diagonal elements we can calculate summation of all admittances connected to that bus. Of diagonal element is the negative of the series admittance of the line. Series admittance, not the half line charging. So it is very too easy to calculate. So that's why Y bus is adopted to calculate, to use in load flow study. Because here to relate V and I, we may write V equal to Z into I in matrix form, or I equal to V into Z, Y into V, sorry, I equal to Y into V. But it is adopted because this Y has several facility as compared to Z regarding the computer calculation. Because for 100 by 100 system, you cannot calculate it by hand. You have to take the help of the computer. So in that way, it will be very useful. And when there is a number of zeros, so in every row, if we take this example, only there is 50 connectivity among the 100 buses, then in each row there will be 49 numbers of minimum 49 numbers of zero. Maximum connectivity is 50. So minimum 49 zeros per row. So 100 rows, so 49 into 100, that number of zeros will be there. So see, when a matrix has a huge number of zero, then that matrix is called sparse matrix. They can be treated separately for computer programming. That is not in your syllabus, but you must know this one. Sparse matrix. What is sparse matrix? So Y bus matrix will be a sparse matrix. But when you invert this Y bus matrix, you will get Z. As you get inversion of Y as Z, so inversion of Y bus will give you a Z bus matrix. You will see, you take any example, Z bus will be a full matrix. So obviously, handling of Y bus is easier, right? What is the sparsity of the matrix? Sparsity that depends on the presence of zero in that element. This may come for interview and MCQs in a competitive exam, not in your syllabus right now. Sparsity means how many zeros are there in that matrix. So as compared to for this example, for maximum 49 zeros, so per row, so 49 into 100 is the zero, by 100 into 100. So that will be the percentage of sparsity. So that amount of zero is there. Okay. So this is the concept of sparsity and sparse matrix. So Y bus matrix, at least you can remember that number of zeros in Y bus matrix is more. So in that way, Y bus matrix is a sparse matrix. But generally, Z bus matrix has no zero element. So Z bus matrix is a full matrix. I shall not give any more entry right now. So in matrix form, in short, we can write I bus equal to Y bus into V bus. Since current and voltages will be a column matrix, so they are also called vector, current vector or voltage vector. Current vector means for n bus power system, current vector means it is a matrix, it is a column matrix of n order of n, right? But Y bus matrix will always be a square matrix because it is relating voltage with the current. So it will always be a square matrix, that is n by n. And you have seen that off-diagonal elements of Y bus matrix are always equal. So if the off-diagonal elements are same, then we can calculate only the upper triangular part. Because lower triangular part, the off-diagonal will be same. So you have no need to calculate it again. So it will reduce the computation time also. So Y bus actually has very well defined structure. Diagonal elements are called self-admittance and off-diagonals are called mutual admittance. So how we can calculate diagonal? Diagonal will be always the summation of all admittances connected to it. And off-diagonal, negative of the series admittances connected to it. As we have seen, you have not seen any sum. You have seen this one, right? So here the off-diagonal, this was Y12. So this is obviously negative of minus Y12, right? But when I have written that formula, I have written sum. Why? Because if there be a parallel line here, say it has the series impedance of Z12 dash, and shunt I cannot draw, I'm just writing Y120 dash. Then obviously there will be another current I12 dash here. If you cannot follow me, then stop me. Otherwise, I shall understand that you are getting my points. So I12 dash I can write, say I12 new. I12 dash is there, right? So new line will be there. So it will again have some series and shunt part. So simply it will be V1 minus V2 by Z12 dash plus V1 Y120 dash. So what should be added here? So this Y120 with V1. So that will come here. Along with that, another term 1 by Z12 dash will come here. Similarly with V2 also, here also 1 minus 1 by Z12 dash will come. So when there is only one line, then it will be negative of the line admittances connected in between those two buses. But if there is two lines, then we have to add up those series admittances. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
In your level, this type of complicacy will not come, but in GATE or other exam, it may come.
Ma'am, how the Y120 came?
Y12 Y12 dash 0, not
Yes, ma'am.
Y120. It will be Y12 dash 0. Now, is it right?
Ma'am, I didn't
Y1.
understand that. Ma'am, that how did that
Let
Y120
me explain. Then there will be another current. Initially, there was two currents. There were two currents. Now, since I have added another line, so there will be another current I12 new. So I12 new, here there is series branch and shunt branch. So there are two currents. This one series and shunt. So this is the I12 new.
Okay, ma'am,
Right?
understood.
Understood. So that's why it has come. So in simple way, diagonal element will be summation of all admittances connected to that. So if you want to calculate V1, you just identify what are the admittances connected here. No, you have no need to bother about other things. So this point means this one, and this one. So series admittance will be this one, this one, this one. And shunt will be this one, this one, this one. So if there be half line charging, for each line there will be two elements. So there will be 6 elements. If you can understand, you can easily do it. If you just remember, you cannot do it. You forget it any day. But if you can understand, it is very easy. And for the off diagonals, it is summation of admittances, transfer admittances, or summation of series admittances of the lines connected between that two buses. So here, after adding the new line in between bus 1 and bus 2, there are two admittances. I am showing by double tick. So Z12 dash and Z12 are the two admittances. So two impedances. So two admittances will be 1 by Z12 and 1 by Z12 dash. And the off diagonal is with negative sign. So there will be a negative sign. And similarly for bus 3, in between bus 1 and bus 3, this is bus 1 and this is bus 3. So in between bus 1 and bus 3, only this Z31 is connected. So minus 1 by Z31 will come as off diagonal in between bus 1 and bus 3, right? So in this way, we can modify the, we can write the elements of Y bus matrix very easily. So if we just write it in a gist form, I have already discussed. So diagonal elements will be summation of all admittances connected to that there. So if Y10 is there, you will consider. If it is not there, you should not consider. But you must remember is this Y10 is half line charging, not the total charging. So if you calculate capacitance of a line, then you can calculate admittance from susceptance from there. Then you divide it by 2. That will be this Yij0. Similarly, I have written here actually 1 by Zij because I cannot show there two lines everywhere. But actually it is negative of all the series admittances connected between bus I and bus, negative of the sum of all series admittances connected between bus I and bus J. If we want to represent it by summation, then it will be complicated. I did not do that. I hope you can understand the expression of Yij. Or we can write this also again like this way. Just you put a negative sign here, some sign here. In this way we can write. Now it is right. I could not thought last day. So I think now we can understand this one. This will be summation of all series admittances connected between bus I and bus T. So if there is more Zij, then you can add it. Like in the example I have given, there are two Z12. So minus 1 by Z12 for another line and minus 1 Z12 for other line. Because here there is no specific value, so we cannot say in that way. So whatever you feel comfortable to understand, you understand in that. This summation will you understand, or I shall keep the it is as it was?
No, ma'am, it's right.
I think it would be, it is much more right, I think. So what is the properties of Y bus matrix? Obviously, it is a square matrix and its dimension will be same as the number of buses present in the network. So n by n. Then Y bus must be symmetrical. Yij equal to Yji. It is always symmetrical. Okay. Without transformer. If there be transformer, then it is not asymmetrical, but it is not required for you right now. Now, since if it is symmetrical, then you have no need to calculate for transformer also. Y bus will be symmetrical, always symmetrical. Diagonal will be different. Then, if the Y bus matrix is symmetrical, then you have required to calculate only half of the diagonal elements available. So how many diagonal elements are there in a n by n matrix? If the matrix is n by n, half the off diagonal elements. If the matrix is n by n, then there are n number of diagonal elements and remaining are the off diagonal. So n by n is the diagonal elements. Sorry, n is the diagonal element. Then off diagonal will be n by n minus n. Now off diagonals are same for the Y bus matrix. So we shall calculate only half of them. Then they will be repetitive. So what are the total number of admittance we have to total number of admittance elements we have to calculate? These diagonals plus off diagonal. So n plus n by n minus n by 2. So this one. So only this much. So calculation is also very less. Then you must remember all the elements of Y bus are complex quantities. So if you are programming in C, then you have to make the initialization, variable assignment all in that way. Then what will be change in Y bus? Due to change in network, because in power system it is ever changing, always changing, due to fault, due to addition of lines, due to addition of generation, everything. So what will be the change? Now you have seen that Y bus matrix is mainly dependent on interconnectivity of the line with the buses, through the interconnectivity of the buses through the lines. So here, if we assume the existing initially, we have started with the 3 by 3 buses, 3 buses with 3 lines. Now, if we assume there is another bus we want to introduce in the present power system, then obviously we are introducing bus number 4 with the present power system. So how will we introduce? We must connect it through a transmission line. So let us assume that we have connected the transmission line between bus 3 and bus 4. So in that way, now bus 4 is the part of the bus 3, the 3 bus power system. Then what will be the modification? If you can remember, for Y bus matrix, diagonal elements are the sum of the admittances connected to it. So if the connectivity change, then only there will be change in Y bus, otherwise not. Now you see here in bus 2 and bus 1 and bus 2, there is no change in connectivity due to interaction of this bus 4 or the line. There will be change only in bus 3 because there is a new line has been introduced. And there will be a new row and column in Y bus matrix. Initially, Y bus was 3 by 3 because it was a 3 bus system. But now we have introduced another bus, so it is now 4 by 4. So there will be new element corresponds to this bus 4. So what will be the new element for the this bus corresponds to bus 3? Y33 will be modified. What will be the modification? Whatever be the old value is already there because we have calculated using these equations. So whatever be the old value, along with that we shall add the admittances newly connected. So obviously series admittance corresponds to line 3, 4 and half line charging corresponds to line 3, 4. So just for row 1 it is 0. For row 2 it will be 0. No change, because for row 2 obviously there is 4 by 4 matrix. Initially it was 3 by 3. So it was for row 1 it was up to y13. Now y14 is there, but there is no connectivity, so it will be 0. Similarly y24 will be 0, so 42 will be 0. But in 3.3 there will be modification. New admittances will be added. So whatever be the old value, we have no need to bother about that. We shall bother about on the new connection. So we shall add those admittances. And for the new off diagonal element, it will be negative of the series admittance rightly. So this one. So for row 4, that has been introduced due to introduction of bus 4. So y44 will be summation of transmission line connected to this. So there is one transmission line only. So this one. So y43 will be equal to y34 or y44 has been already calculated, right? So this is the thing. Now say if this is the thing, so in this way it will be continued. Now it may happen there is another bus we have connected through bus 5. It is with bus 3. Then what will be the modification now? Now modification will be in y33, y35 will be there, then y55 and y53 will be equal to y35, right? Because we have introduced new bus, so now the matrix will be 5 by 5. So y35 will not be 0, minus 1 by z35, but y15, y25, y45 all will be 0 because there is no connectivity. Have you understood this?
Yes, ma'am.
Then say we add a one line, extra line, no bus. So if we add extra line, for that there will be no change in dimension, but there will be change in values because we have added one line. Here we have assumed that in the existing power system that now we have derived 4 by 4 bus power system, there is another line in between bus 2 and bus 4. So this line is new. Then what will be the modification? Always modification will be at the end bus of that two lines. So in bus 2 and bus 4, right? So whatever be the old value of y22, that will be modified by adding the admittances of that line. Similarly, y24 will be there. Whatever be the y24, we shall add, it is with that, right? So y24 was not there. So here minus z24 has been introduced. Initially y24 was 0 because there was no connectivity in between these two. Similarly, y44 new will be y44 old plus summation of admittances, and y42 new will be equal to y24 new. New thing is that now if we assume that now we have introduced, so this was the modification due to introduction of one line. Now after some time, if we introduce another line, same parallel to this, then what will happen? So now for this next modification, I am writing in the next. For the next modification, obviously this y22 new whatever that now y22 old. So y22 new whatever be that will be y22 old plus summation of whatever y new will come. Have you understood my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, why I have told that you should write some of the series admittances for off diagonals. Say for this example, now y24 is not 0, but it was existing y minus 1 by z24. Now you just add the series admittance of the additional line. Say z249 new. I cannot write z24 again. So z24 new. So in this way, modification will be continuous. Understood this? Why Y24 is this one?
Yes, ma'am.
So actually we should not write in programming here 1 by Z24. It will be actually Y24 old. Because Y24 old has already been calculated here, right? So this equation is valid whatever number of line you connect in between whichever buses. Understood? Okay. Then tripping of line. Say now say one line has been withdrawn. When line is withdrawn, when there is a fault in transmission line, then obviously we disconnect that. Say there is a fault in this line 1, 2. We have already learned this fault. Then obviously if we sense the fault to the relay, then circuit breaker will break the circuit, break the connectivity, and this line will be disconnected from the system. So this is called the line tripping. So as if line has been disconnected from the system. So how we can take this consideration into the Y bus calculation? So this tripping line removal calculation will be same for the line adding, just in reverse way. So whenever we have added the line, we have added the impedance with the old value. Now we are withdrawing the line, so we shall subtract that one. Similarly, when for off-diagonal elements, when we had added the line, then we have put the negative of the series admittance. Now we shall add the positive of the series admittance, then it will be neutralized. So in that way, we can incorporate any tripping of the line in the Y bus calculation also. Why is it required? Because actually load flow study is required to calculate bus voltages under any normal operating condition. So after removal of the fault, that means after disconnecting the line, obviously the system will be stable, we shall expect. Now whether it is stable or not, that we can calculate using load flow calculation. But for that load flow calculation, Y bus will be changed, because for the new calculation, line 1, 2 is not in the system, right? So for that reason, this modification is required. You always remember that load flow calculation is for steady state analysis, okay, not for fault calculation. Have you understood tripping of a line? How to incorporate it?
Yes.
So next is installation of a shunt reactive compensator. Shunt reactive compensation is always adopted at load side, and it may be of capacitive type or inductive type. So shunt capacitive means that is connected in between bus and the ground. So actually Y bus relates the current with the bus from the buses, right? Like this. So if these currents are I1, I2, I3, capacitive current say IC, then obviously for this bus number 2, current are all other line currents, say I2J, J means line connected between bus 2 and other buses. So I2J, J equal to 1 to N. What does it mean? Current between bus 2 to other buses, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2N. So if there be connectivity, then this current will exist, otherwise not. Along with that, there is another current due to the compensation, say ICOM. It is better to write, right? So ICOM. So ICOM may be capacitive, may be inductive, depending on the compensation. So this thing we have, basis on this thing, summation of currents, we have already derived the elements of Y bus. So what will be the modification for this ICOM? What is the current current corresponds to ICOM? That is susceptance into voltage. So for this here bus is 2, so this one, right? It is capacitive, so it will be J, not minus J, because you must remember capacitive reactance is minus JXC. So capacitive susceptance is 1 by that, so it will be plus JBC. So modification will be only this JBC will be added with the old value. So in that way, shunt reactive compensation may also be included in Y bus. But shunt reactive compensation is always with the bus in between bus and ground in per phase basis. So it is not the series impedance, it is shunt, like the half line charging. So it will be added only with the bus, not it for the shunt capacitive compensation. Only the diagonal elements will be modified, no, not any off diagonal elements. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what will be the modification if it is inductive? Say if there be an inductor connected with susceptance value of BL, then say at bus 3. Then what will be Y33? Can you tell me Y33 old, then plus or minus? What we shall write next? Y33 old, then
Minus JB.
minus JBL. Okay, not plus. Do not make that mistake. Right? Minus JBL. So in that way we can write. Next is bus power. Concept of bus power is very much important for load flow study. So bus power means actually always injected bus power. As I have told that always we take outgoing current as positive. Similarly, injected power we always take as positive. Injected power means some power has been injected, is being injected. That means some generation is there. So always generation is taken as positive. So load will be negative. So in this bus, as I have shown in bus I, if the generation is PG plus JQG and load is PD plus JQD, then if generation is more than load, then what is the net power injection? PG minus PD, active power, and QG minus QD is the reactive power. So net injected bus power is PG SG minus SD or PG plus JQG minus PD plus JQD, right? So this is called injected bus power, and this is also called scheduled bus power. Why scheduled? Because you know that, say you have planned that this generation should be to in per unit, obviously per unit is say 1 plus j 0.8, and say this is 0.8, okay, and this is say 0.5 plus j 0.1. So this is planned. You know what will be load and generation. Okay, load and generation are not unplanned. So this part will always be known. Okay, then it is called scheduled bus power because you have scheduled that one, like economic load scheduling from there. So reactive power scheduling also there. So we have not discussed this one. So load from schedule, it is already scheduled. So it is scheduled bus power. It is called. Then obviously, if there is no generation at the ith bus, then it is simply minus PD minus JQD. But it does not mean it is capacitive generation. It is inductive load. Okay. Please keep your concept clear. Bus power is always generation minus load. Always inductive var is positive. So here, since it is load, so it is minus JQD. It is not a capacitive var. Okay. So this is called scheduled bus power. And always we take injected bus power as positive. Okay. So always we calculate in this way. If it is coming positive, that means it is injection. That means what is generation. If it is coming negative, that means it is a withdrawal. That means it is a load. Okay. Because every information you will give to computer will calculate something. It will give you some value. Some numerical only, 10, 5, 2, 3 like that. From there, you have to understood whether it is generation or load. So how will you understand? So you have to give a clear convention to the computer so that you can interpret the result by yourself, because computer will not interpret the result for you, right? So obviously SG, SD, SI, all are complex quantity. All the calculation in load flow are in complex quantity. Then there is another concept of power, that is calculated bus power. Say if bus voltage and Y bus matrix is known, then we can calculate the current. If we can calculate the current, obviously we can calculate the power S equal to VI conjugate. S equal to VI conjugate, since current is in additive form, we cannot additive form. Before addition we cannot add, and we do not know the values, we are doing it in variable form. then we have taken conjugate on both sides, as we have done for the power flow calculation or power circle diagram. Then obviously we easily can do this power calculation. Then what will be the active power, real part of this, and what will be the inductive power, reactive power, minus imaginary part of that if we consider inductive bar as positive. I have already discussed repeatedly in power circle diagram here also. So if this is S conjugate, then obviously S is P plus JQI, so S conjugate is P minus JQI. Then P minus JQI is this one. Then obviously QI will be minus imaginary part of this. If you see your power circle diagram part, I have already discussed. So here we are calculating, these are not scheduled. Say you have calculated, because bus voltage we calculate in load flow study. So if we calculate the bus voltages, then if we calculate the bus power from there, then this equation 10A and 10B we have to use. So these are the calculated values. Then where we are taking two values, scheduled as well as calculated. Actually, in load flow study, bus voltages are not known. You are calculating this. So after calculation, whether your calculation is right or wrong, how will you find out? How will you verify? Who will verify for you? For that, if you calculate this PI, so you are calculating this PI cal actually. And you know the scheduled also, PI scheduled. That is generation minus load, right? So if your calculation is right, then obviously this PI calculate and PI schedule will be equal. Otherwise, there will be discrepancy. So in that way, both the way of power calculation is required by PI scheduled and PI cal. And when we are calculating bus powers from this equation 10A, or if we take PI as the PI schedule, then we can calculate VI. If we make this PI is equal to PI schedule, we can make that one also, because finally it will be that. So from there, we can calculate what will be the value of VI. So the equation 10A may be a possible way to calculate the VI. That's why equation 10A and 10B are called static load flow equations. Actually, they are solved to find out bus voltages. Now you can say that when we are solving VI, by making PI equal to P schedule, then why I have told about P cal. Actually, there are several methods of load flow calculation. In some method, in one method, PI cal is required. In another method, PI cal is not required. Only PI schedule is sufficient. In your syllabus, there is only Gauss-Seidel load flow. So there is no concept of PI cal. There is only PI schedule. With PI schedule, we can find out bus voltage. But concept of PI cal is also required to verify the bus voltages. In no book it is given how will you verify your result. So I am telling you how will you verify. So after calculation with PI schedule, you calculate finally the VI. Then after calculation, you calculate PI from this equation. If that calculated value of power is matching with your scheduled power, then you can see your calculation is right. You no need to verify with it any book. If it is not matching, that means your calculation is wrong. Understood? Okay, that's all for today. And I shall tell you if I cannot take the class on Monday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please leave the meeting.